What's up, everybody? It's your boy Caesar. So today, this is part 2 of the Going Back to Japan vlog. So today, we're going to take you through Gundam Base. Now, the one that you saw in the first video was a pop-up shop, and that's right next to the Unicorn. This is the one that's actually in the mall, in the Odaiba or DiverCity mall that they have there. So this one is a permanent one. So this one does not move. It is always there. So as we're getting ready to go in, you have the guy that greets you at the beginning. He actually wants you to scan your face in there, which is interesting. So you do have to do that when you go into that place. So that's new. And then of course they have hand sanitizer there and stuff like that. So as we go through this, now this is different from when I was here a couple of years ago, because I would say that they had more product than they had the second time that I was there. And it definitely has way more than the pop-up shop, because of course, naturally it's bigger, right? So, and we've seen some of this. If you go back to that Gundam Shopping in Japan video, you'll see a lot of this. And it's interesting to see how it's changed, or if it's changed at all from 2 years ago. And I would say that some things are the same and some things are different. And what I would say is that they have a display piece based on the years that when the Gundam shows come out. So as you see Zeta there, and then they kind of go through it. So they have double Zeta there, they have G Gundam, and they get into Seed and some other series as you kind of go along. And these are pretty much all in that long hallway as soon as you first walk in. So you're seeing Wing there, you got Seed in 2002. That's when I jumped on board. You have 2004 with Destiny, 2021 with Hathaway's Flash, etc., etc. As you see Reconquista NG, you see a lot of that. And so this setup is a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. And as we're walking through here, they always have kept it very, very clean, and they always kind of have their main display case in the front. And so as we're seeing, we're taking a look at the gold version of the God Gundam for the RG. So that looks spectacular. And then of course they're showing you the RG and high G of the unicorns there that we saw in the pop-up shop with the Iron-Blooded Orphans. I think that was a video game. I forget what it's called, Erd Hunt or something like that, I think. And what I wanted to see first is I wanted to take a look at the Perfect Grade Unleashed Nu Gundam. And that thing looks massive. It looks massive. I would say that that's probably going to be the biggest Perfect Grade we've got thus far, especially with the fin funnels. I don't think that you're probably going to get one bigger than that. And I think that it looks really, really good. I know it's going to be expensive, and it doesn't come out until January, if I'm not mistaken. At least the first batch, that one's going to be sought after. And I have history with the Nu Gundam. And if I ever do review a Nu Gundam, not the high Nu, but the new, I will tell you that story, because that story is actually quite fascinating. But the Nu Gundam has always eluded me in model kit form. So, but there's a long story behind that. So as we're going through the displays, I would say that this time that I went, I was able to capture more footage than I did the first time or 2 years ago, because there wasn't as many people in there, because it was right when they opened. So there wasn't as big of a rush of people in there. So I was able to really kind of take my time and go through every display base. And I thought that it looked really, really good. I think what they've got in there, this is definitely different from how it was the last time that we were there, and you get to see the prices and stuff like that. And also using this new Insta360 camera, it makes it a lot easier for me to record, because it's not as big as, say, your phone or like a big old camera or something like that. So I can kind of maneuver it a little bit easier, and it takes really good quality, because this entire footage was shot on that small camera. So I really do enjoy that. So as we're kind of going through, you kind of see the Gachipons there on the left. You see the Gundam mugs there, and they're about $17 a piece. But to try to get those over here in the States, you're probably going to be paying 30 something plus. They're very hard to get, and they don't really sell them here. And I wish that they would. There should be a Bandai or a Gundam shop somewhere in the United States. I know that Gundam is maybe not as big as, say, like Demon Slayer or Dragon Ball or something like that, but it does have a pretty good following here in the United States. So I would imagine that you would want a permanent store, at least like in LA or New York or something like that. I think that would be really cool if they actually did that. So as we're seeing, we're going through some of the P Bandai stuff that they have released in the last year or so. So we're kind of going through that. It looks really, really good, the displays that they have in there. I can't imagine how long it would take someone to get all that set up, especially if you're getting them in a dynamic pose, because that can take forever, as I well know. So as it looks like, we're going over here to the Gundam F90 display case. Now with this video, I did not care as much about getting people in the shot, because I was just taking my time with this one. I wasn't really worried about trying to not have them in frame or anything like that. And I don't really know how to do the pixelation where you can kind of blur out their face. But I didn't really care about that, and specifically because there wasn't that many people in there anyway. So as we're going through the F90s, to me, it's amazing that Bandai picked the F90 to say, okay, we're going to give you all of these different accessory packs for that. That is more than the Strike by far. And the Strike has quite a few option sets. So the fact that they were releasing those as master grades is quite interesting to me. So as we're going through, it looks like I'm going to be going to the side here on the left. We do get a chance to take a look at some of the older kits there out front. And as you see the 10 containers there that we saw in the other video at the pop-up shop, and kind of just going through and seeing what they've got there. So it looks like they got some trading cards there and some of the small little figures there. So they've got quite a bit there. And I would say that they did have more product this time than they did the second time. I was kind of disappointed. Now the thing about that is that could just be my own memory, because of course the first time you go, you're kind of blown away by how much stuff is there, and because you've never seen it before, compared to now, this is probably like my 5th or 6th time in this store, so I'm maybe not as blown away as I was the first time. So of course we're going through the gold versions here of the OG Gundam, so those look really, really good how they did that. And now we're going into the front section here. So you do get these entry grade kits. So you get the entry grade Wing Gundam, and I have not built any of those. As you guys know, I don't really build as much anymore. I'm more of a figure collector now than I was, say, 10 years ago, when that's all I did was do models. So they do have those. They do have the RX-78 F00. So that is the reformatted version of the moving Gundam that was in Yokohama. You guys have seen that video on the channel as well if you go back into the archives. So they do have a ton of that stuff there, and it looked like it was in really good. They had a pretty decent amount, I would say. So it looks really, really good as far as what they were able to do here. And I would say that the only problem that I really have with Bandai right now is that, to me, they're not putting out enough product. The stuff that they're putting out is good and it is quality, but I don't think they're putting out enough stuff. I think they're just kind of cashing it in. I don't know if they've got some sort of issue with the production side of it, or maybe it's just the fact that all the cost for like the plastic and stuff has gone up. So we're taking a look at the SD section here, and it seemed like I didn't know that SD was this popular. It's like they have every version of an SD Gundam that you could want there, and it looked like it was heavily stocked. So I don't know if it's that popular or not, but it seems like they have a whole display setup for just SD Gundam, and you can get pretty much anyone that you wanted. And of course, you've got the little plushy things there. So we see now we're getting into the perfect grade section here. And so they do have some perfect grades. They didn't have a ton. I would say that they had more than they did last time. I've always liked the full burn-in as far as that perfect grade. It just looks amazing. And then you've got the 007G there with the 00 Quanta, or the 00 Gundam. You've got the Exia, the Wing Zero. And then you've got, looks like the OG and the Strike Rouge. You've got the Strike Freedom Gundam there and the 00 Riser for 2,800 yen. That's not bad at all. So it's, especially if you're going over there now, I would say, especially if you're trying to escape tariffs, if you're a collector or you're a builder and you happen to be in Japan, this is probably going to be the time to buy, because trying to get this stuff shipped, you're going to be paying a fortune, especially if you buy a lot of stuff. You're going to be paying a fortune in tariffs, and it's very, very unfortunate for, as a collector, that we have to pay extra simply because they can't get their act together in Washington. But I'm not going to get into that whole situation there. But there is your perfect grade display base, and now we're going into some of the master grades. So of course you got the Psycho Zaku there from Thunderbolts, and you've got the High Nu there from Bell Torchica's Children. And then this is something that you don't see a lot of anymore. You don't see the titanium builds of master grades anymore. I mean, we hardly get any master grades anymore. I would say you only get maybe about 2 a year, 1 to 2 a year. And getting the titanium build, we haven't seen a new one of those in quite some time. So I don't know if that line has been discontinued, because they're still clearly selling it there, but that line might be discontinued as far as them actually making new ones. So here we're just going through. Now there was a lot of people in this area, so I kind of skipped over some of it and tried to get back to it later. So here you have your Turn A display, and it looks like these are 1x100s there. So they're not master grades, but they're the regular 1x100. It's always nice to see a Gundam X display. Gundam X is having their 30th anniversary next year, so it'll be interesting to see what Bandai does for that series, considering that it's not very popular, even though I think that it's actually one of the better of the alternate universe series. And actually I would say, this is my hot take, that it's better than Gundam Wing, but I know that that's sacrilege to people in the United States, but that's my personal feeling. So anyway, so here we go. We're going to the master grade display here. So we're seeing some of the old school master grades, and I've built quite a few of these, even though I don't think I own most of them anymore. But you're kind of going through the Universal Century stuff here, and the fact that they have them on display, and they had a significant stock of most of these, as you will see going forward in this video. And then of course you've got the big one from Gundam Unicorn there. So you've got quite a bit going on here, and for me it was a lot easier for me to just move around this time, and I didn't care about being nice this time. So and of course they will allow you to record in there, so I wasn't doing anything sneaky or anything. Here's the Kshatriya, there the high grade. I wonder if we'll ever get a master grade of the Kshatriya. That would be interesting to see. That thing would be humongous, and it would weigh a ton. If I remember correctly, that is what they said the reason why they have not done one is because it would just weigh too much. You'd probably need a metal frame in order to keep that thing up, and you would still have weight problems. So as you see, we're going into some of the other Universal Centuries. You got the unicorns there at the bottom. Well, we've got quite a few kits on display, and if you've never been there, you will definitely be amazed when you go in here, because we're just not used to in the United States seeing this much product at one time. It's almost unheard of in the United States that you'll see something like this outside of maybe a convention, and even a convention would never have this much stuff there. So it looks like you've got the Gundam Base exclusive for the high grade Zeta. So you got the Zeta, the Mark II there. So you've got a lot of good kits here. So it's always really good. They do go by timeline. So this is all the Zeta stuff, as you can see. So you got the Yakushiki there, and you're going through the Psycho Gundam there, and you've got the Titan version of the Mark II. And so you've got a nice display base here for your Universal Century stuff. It looks like you got some of the advanced Zeta there at the bottom, and then you've got double Zeta here. So I tried to get as much as I could there. So you have some of F91 there, and then we're going into some of the other master grades. So you got the wing stuff there with some of the seed. I didn't realize that we had that many seed master grades. Goodness gracious, man. You would think that series is popular or something. And when's the last time you get like Gundams that are not the main Gundam in the show for master grades? That's almost unheard of. Even though those last two are not master grades, those are 1x100s, the Calamity there and the Forbidden. But you got that, and then of course you got the Sword Impulse up there with the Destiny and the Strike Freedom. And then you've got the newest one there. I forget, what was that, the Testament? I think it's the Testament Gundam there. I think. I could be wrong about that. I'm sure y'all will correct me in the comments. I'm going off of memory here. So here you have some of the stuff from IDO, Gundam Age. You got some of that there. You've got the 00 Quanta. Of course, I recognize that. And then you've got the Aerial up there up front. And then you've got some for Gundam 00. So you've got the 007G, 00 Quanta again. And you've got a lot of different versions of the Exia with the Dynamis and all of the others. So really good display base there. And then you've got the Master Grade Strike Freedom. That is the EX version, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like they had the Destiny. Yeah, there's the Destiny there. So you got the Destiny and the Strike Freedom there. So it'd be interesting to see if they ever sell those little display bases that they have there that come pre-assembled, or that, you know, they're easy to assemble. That would be something cool. Now you've got another, I don't know if that was a P Bandai for the Nu Gundam there, but you got a whole bunch of stuff in here as well. So you got quite a bit going on here. Now you're getting into the high grades. So this is the Seed Freedom stuff here. And don't mind my hand in the shot. What it was is I was switching hands, and so I didn't realize that my peak was actually in the shot when I was shooting. So on occasion you will see that throughout this video, but it doesn't, I don't have it covering the entire lens. So hopefully you guys will be okay with that. But as you can see, we're taking a look at the Seed Freedom stuff. So of course it's always nice to see some Seed Freedom. I wonder if we're gonna get the Freedom Zero movie. We haven't heard anything new on that. I know we have Hathaway's Flash. The second episode is finally coming at the beginning of next year. So I'd be interested to see when we're going to get that, or if that's going to be, they're not going to make a movie, maybe it'll be like an OVA or something like that. So we've got all the Seed Destiny stuff here. I am waiting for a Master Grade Savior. Can we please get that? That's actually one of my favorite Atherin mobile suits, and the fact that we don't have that outside of that 1x100 and a high grade, that's a travesty. So hopefully we'll get a Master Grade of that sometime in the future. So you got that going on there. Now we're getting into some of the figure stuff as well. You see some of the Gundam Stray blue frame there. So that whole display case, all there is all Seed. So Seed Freedom, Seed Destiny, and the Strays as well. So it's always good to see Gundam Seed around. And I was looking at this before, and I guess it's like a mask that you put on. So I guess maybe like for COVID or something. I guess that would be pretty cool if you could do it. Now you're getting into the figure stuff here. So of course you got Lacus up there, and you got Luna Maria Hawk with the people from G Quux, I think is how you pronounce that. So you've got that. You got Soletta over there on the right. So you've got quite a bit there. So they did sell all of those model kit figure style there. So you do have that. Now this section, there wasn't much in this section, but I did skip that section. So we'll cut over, especially since there was a lot of people there. So here in this section, they have a couple of diorama pieces up. So you're seeing the Penelope and the Cassie. So that's a really good diorama piece there. And then you are seeing the High Nu and the Nightingale. So that's cool. So I always like seeing diorama pieces. Those are always really cool to see. You see Kieran, Atherin there. So this is pretty much in the back of the store. And this is where you'll see a lot of interesting artwork, and you'll see the professional modelers. They have their models in their display there. Really cool there. So you got a nice wing setup there. So that one looks pretty cool. And you've got some Universal Century stuff there. So they've got quite a bit there. So they do have a nice display for modelers, but it's probably only for professional ones. I don't think that they are like normal people, or if there's some sort of like celebrity or something, because I know sometimes they do celebrity models where they'll have the model that the celebrity did, usually singers. It's usually like not K-pop, but J-pop singers. So you've got that. And then they used to have the machine that makes Gundams. They used to have that in the back here, but I guess they've taken that out in the last couple of years. So that's unfortunate. And then this is the place where like most of the professional modelers are, I think. Yeah, and it's got their name there. So usually some of the winners from the Gunpla championship thing that they do every year, I think. So this one does change quite often. Every time that I've gone there, they've always had new models in there. So I've always liked going and looking at these professional ones, because back when Hobby Japan and Dengeki Hobby had magazines, you used to see those all the time. But now that they are digital only, so they're only online, they don't actually have an actual magazine anymore, I don't think. You don't see the professional modelers work that much anymore. But it's cool to go here and see this stuff, because it's always stuff that you see online a lot. And so it's always nice to see that stuff in person. And then I think these are some of the J-pop singers there. They did their kits there. So those are pretty cool. So one thing that I could not find here, because I was looking for, if you watch Mecha Guy Go To, or even Kakarot, was it 197, I think? They did a video on these base stands that, so you could have like hangers, and you can have like a wall of hangers, so you can put all your model kits and stuff in. I was looking high and low for that thing, and I could not find it, because they're only $1 a piece, and I could not find those anywhere. I'll probably link that video in the description of this video, because finding those hanger pieces, because apparently they're selling them for like $7 or $8 per hanger online. So of course people were trying to make profit off of them, but that was one of the first things I was looking for. And that's why I was going through these little action base and builder part sets. I was going high and low on every Gunpla place that I went to looking for those things. I cannot find them. So that's unfortunate. And of course we've seen the Zeta one there, and that Neon RX-78. You've seen that before. And then you've got the crystal version of the Unicorn. So you've got that, and then that is the actual machine they used to have in the back, that injection machine there on the right. That's what I guess the machines that actually make the Gunpla, that's a model version of those. And they used to have one of those in that back part there, but I guess they took it out. I don't know why. So, and then of course you've seen them restock. Now, this is the thing also, because earlier in the video I said that it seemed like they did not have as much stock. They did have stock, and I noticed, like, especially if you go back throughout the week, you will see more stock as it's closer to the weekend, because I guess they figure everybody's gonna be buying all the stuff on the weekend on their days off. So it seemed like during the week, a lot of the places that I went didn't have as much stock, but if I did get a chance to go back to them, that they did have more stock on the weekend. So that is something to take note of if you are planning on going here, that you may want to try to come back at least one time before you leave and see if there's anything on there that you didn't see before. So, and then of course we're going back to the Unleashed Perfect Grade Nu Gundam. So can't wait for that one. That's going to be a really good kit. I am definitely looking forward to that. And so that is pretty much all for the model kits. I think what I'm going to do now, as I'm walking over here, because of course I'm going off of memory here, is I'm going to go to Strict G. Now, Strict G is their Gundam clothing line, and it's very expensive. It's very expensive, but they have really nice looking clothes. The problem with this, especially if you are a heavier set guy, these will not fit you. I'm sorry. They will not fit. They barely fit me. They are Japanese sizes. They're not American sizes. So if you have a Japanese like extra large, more than likely that's going to be closer to an American large, or possibly like in between a medium and a large. So that's something to take note of if you are looking for clothes there. Definitely, if you get a chance to try it on before you actually buy it, because finding clothes in Japan, because most people in Japan are not overweight, or they're not really big. So unfortunately, that is something that you will have to take note of. You can find some that have American sizes, but I didn't find any, especially not for Strict G. Because Strict G, everything is very tapered there. So we're just kind of going through and looking at some of the stuff that they have there. Now, this is interesting because I always see ads for these online, especially on my Facebook page and stuff. So I will see that quite a bit. But the one thing that I did like, they had all these jackets here, and these jackets look really awesome. We actually saw some people rocking those on the street, and they look awesome. So I would imagine, I didn't look at the price, I don't think, but the prices for those are probably like $400. So they're not cheap. And then you see all those bomber jackets. I used to see those online on the P Bandai sites all the time with some of the book bags. They even got socks and stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys a tour of that as well, because that is something that we don't talk about a lot on the channel, which is apparel. Because I actually have quite a bit of Gundam apparel. Sometimes on the USP Bandai site, you can get American sizes, and then some versions you can't. So I would definitely, if you're looking for authentic Gundam apparel, I would definitely maybe email P Bandai or check when they go online and see if they're an American size or if they're a Japanese size, because Japanese sizes run very tapered and they run very small. So of course, written to the end here, always love to see, was this Jared from Gundam X, or Garrett? Gundam X is one of my favorite alternate universe series. That series is so underrated, and the 30th anniversary for that is next year. And then of course we have these humongous acrylic stands. Imagine trying to buy one of those. That would be awesome. And then, like I said, at Gundam Base, you can take photos in there. And so you don't have to worry about, because sometimes at some stores, they will not let you record or take photos. And then some, but usually with the big stores, they usually don't have a problem with you doing it. And then of course they have the big Unicorn Gundam, the crystallized version there in the front. So that pretty much is it for the tour of Gundam Base in Odaiba. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.